This is a very important area of Oak Park. It contains the third largest population of clove-scented broomrape in Kent. Found about 3 years ago here. It's a member of the broomrape family, which are plants with no chlorophyll. So they survive by absorbing all the nutrients from other plants and are often species specific. And in this case, clove-scented broomrape is specific for lady's bedstraw, which you can see just growing here next to it. But Oak Park is brilliant for its mosaic of habitats. Most important of which is acid grassland, which we'll come to. Yes. The original designation of this land as SSSI was done originally in the 1960s, with an update in 1980s. But the original survey work, in my opinion, eliminated half of the area, calling it improved grassland. In reality, if you go and look at that improved grassland, the quality is just as good and better in places to the actual area covered by the SSSI. And in my opinion, should have been included from the start and should definitely now be included in the SSSI to give it full protection. Within the non-SSSI grassland, which I've looked at in the last few years, you'll find exactly the same species of small clovers, forget-me-nots and other rare species of acid grassland as you find on the SSSI land, and in fact in some places higher densities. The main characteristic of acid grassland is the fact it grows on shallow soils, sandy soils, and so the grass never gets too rank and remains low. And also a characteristic of acid grassland is the bare patches, where all the rare clovers and other species are allowed to grow unhindered by rough, rank grassland. Changing forget-me-not is characteristic of dry habitats, sparse habitats. Early forget-me-not, again, characteristic of dry and sparse habitats. Neutral grassland is rich. It's grassland, species poor and dominated by rough grasses. Whereas this is dominated by things like early hairgrass, which is a very small, fine grass. The other beauty of acid grassland is the fact that it can take an awful lot of use by humans, because without humans wearing piles down and keeping the shrub down, it would just change to scrub and you would lose all the plants that you had in the first place. So it is actually ideal habitat for a country park. In a normal year with rain, the ideal time of year is middle of May to middle of June, when all these small clovers come up, because they are what I call ephemeral plants. They come up, flower once and then shrivel away again. But because of the vast mosaic of habitats, you can visit it all year round. The importance of this site for flora is emphasised by the fact that to date 400 different species have been found through the various habitats here, of which 68 are axiophytes and 16 are on the Kent Rare Plant Register. Now, axiophytes are what we call worthy plants, 40% of plants that arouse interest and are indicators of habitat that is considered important for conservation, such as ancient woodlands or, in this case, acid grassland. The reason we collect these lists of axiophytes is that they provide a powerful technique for determining conservation priorities. Sites with many axiophytes are usually of greater importance than those with fewer. And also they can be used for monitoring. Changes in the number of axiophytes in the site over time can be used to monitor the outcome of management techniques. Two of the most important axiophytes found on this site are harebell and clustered clover, which are both plants on the Kent Rare Plant Register, which is indicative of their importance to preserve in Kent. This area here is a classic example of the typical acid grassland. In good years you'll see it covered in sheep sorrel and brightly coloured plants later in the year. When the sheep sorrel is fully open and flowering, the whole area will look red.